Alright boys, welcome back to another El Camino Kyle video. Today I've got Ethan with me and we are down the back roads of Molalla, Oregon. About 2 weeks ago I found a very interesting car posted on Craigslist. One of 688 for the year, I believe. So came out, looked at it, made a deal with the guy. Waited a few weeks till he was available and our schedules matched up. Just met him at the bank and did a title transfer. Now we've got the U-Haul behind us and we're heading out to his place to pick this thing up and bring it home. Once you see the car, I think you'll understand my reasoning behind the purchase. So follow along, we'll roll the intro and get into the good stuff. Okay guys, so one of the stipulations with that sedan delivery up there was it looks like someone at one point planned on turning it into a drag car, and that's partially why it's got a 302 4-speed in it and adds to the cool factor. However, in turning it into a drag car, they started cutting out one side of the rear wheel tub. Luckily, Scott here has a 63 parts Ranchero, so he's already started cutting the patch panel out that can be used as a donor piece to weld back into the sedan delivery. So I brought an angle grinder with me. We're gonna finish getting this cut out and bring it back home with us so we can have a factory patch panel that matches the other side and is true to the car back in it. So I'm not gonna bore you with cutting this thing out. It's 90% done. Kind of just gotta get where it connects to the frame, and then we'll throw it in the back of the truck and get back to the meat and potatoes of the video.
Cutting out this whole thing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard where it wants to.
And we
Go for it. It's gonna go real quick. Okay, hold on. Let's slow down. You ready?
Yep. Go. Turn.
The wheel more to the right. How about the rear wheels?
Oh, nope.
How about the rear wheels? Don't scratch my head strap.
That's what happens when you buy a Ford. Yeah. Interesting.
Hopefully I didn't scam. As you saw in the video, the front brakes were really seized. Scott was nice enough to give us a pair of dikes and a hammer. We pounded the ever-living shit out of the drums for about an hour until we could get the drums off, the shoes removed, and it reassembled so we could roll the car out of the Quonset hut. Had a little snafu getting it on the trailer. The rear end was misaligned, so we had to drag the trailer forward, get it reloaded on, but it was smooth sailing on the way home. Stopped, got some Taco Tuesday tacos, a margarita, and also power washed it. As you can see, the body's really straight and rust-free as well. There is something weird that I'll have to show you on the back, some sort of patch panel that someone did. Kind of makes me question the history of the vehicle, but it's sweet nonetheless. In the engine bay, it also looks like there was evidence of someone tinkering with it. We got new hose clamps on the fuel filter, some fresh washers on the driver's side exhaust manifold. But everything's here, everything's complete. Yeah, I want to swap the radiator before I put coolant in it, but I think tonight we might even be able to get the thing to pop off. We stopped by O'Reilly's, got a fuel filter, set of spark plugs, some fuel line, and a starter solenoid if we need it. So we'll set the camera up, eat our ice cream sandwiches, hook a jerry can to it, and see what happens. It's spinning or is it starting?
Now it's spinning.
Cool. Alright, so as you can see, put some new sections of fuel lines from the mechanical fuel pump up to the carb, as well as a fuel filter, and then I disconnected the fuel pump inlet from the tank. I had some yellow gas spill out of it, so it's definitely bad. The tank needs flushed. And then we just ran it to a jerry can full of about a gallon's worth of gasoline I pulled out of the Chevelle last week. Bad gas as well, but you know, it's what we got. It's better than what's in the tank here. Disconnected the coil wire. We'll spin the engine over to build oil pressure before I hook up spark and crank. Also filled the flow holes with some gas and then poured some down the throat as well, so it should fire off. This is the battery that it came with. I put it on a charger for about an hour. We'll see what it does. A little faith there. But yeah, I'll hit the key. We'll cycle it over a few times. I also hand spun it with a ratchet. We got a full rotation out of it, so it's not seized. So yeah, let's build some oil pressure and then we'll hook the coil back up and see what it does. She's dead. Find another battery out of my stash and hook it up with something that has a little bit more juice. Doesn't sound good.
Nope.
Might be a bad water pump there. So, spun it over to build oil pressure. It sounds like it might have a bad water pump, alternator, or something bearing. A little bit of dragging sound. We'll hook up the coil and then see if she pops off. Hopefully we have spark. I didn't check the points, didn't ohm out the coil, so running purely off hope here. We'll grab a screwdriver, I'll have Ethan turn the key, and then I'll check for spark out of the coil. Yeah. Stop. I don't think I'm getting spark from the coil. We have a somewhat broken power wire. Alright guys, doing the bare minimum here. Got an external coil set up. Had to recrimp the wire. The wire ended up falling apart. Send Ethan over to crank again. Check for spark with this guy. If not, likely a voltage regulator problem. Go ahead. Stop. Still not seeing spark. You can check points. Go ahead and crank it. Okay, stop. Stop. Okay, go to the on position.
On position.
I think this thing just wants to die.
Where's the money, Lebowski? You want that money, Lebowski? Bunny says you're good for it.
Cranking.
That's gotta be that voltage regulator. Alright guys, had a few beers last night, so we were running around trying different things with the parts that we had around the garage. I ended up putting a bigger than needed battery that I had on the shelf. We ran a coil jumper wire, but the ignition uses a resistor wire that drops it down to 9 volts when cranking. So I spliced it, hooked it back up to a coil that we had laying around. And then today, after messing with the points, sanding them, so on and so forth, checking the grounds and such, I just ran to the auto parts store, grabbed a set of points and a condenser, as well as a voltage regulator. They're all standard ignition products that match in the system, so they should work well with each other. So we'll crank it and see if she fires off now. There we go! Looks like the radiator might be leaking a little bit, but it's running pretty good off the bad gas. Gotta work through that, and then we can adjust the idle mixture screws or probably just rebuild the carburetor. But I don't have any water in the radiator right now, so I'm just gonna run it for a few seconds, build oil pressure, get everything working again. And then I'll shut it off, we can drain the oil, swap the oil filter, and then go from there. Sounds like a healthy motor. Look at that. Alright guys, so as we saw, it fired right up and idled. It was kind of low, but that's probably due to the carburetor and the bad gas. So I assume as it keeps running and working through all that stuff, it'll only get better. Like I mentioned, the radiator's leaking, and I've also got a whole bunch of parts that could be used for this 302, as well as the transmission and the rear end here. So the big idea is it's a single pot master cylinder, 4-wheel drum brake car that initially is probably set up for a 6-cylinder motor. Obviously we have a 302 V8. So rather than rebuilding the 4-lug drum brakes all around, I'm thinking about just swapping it to a Mustang style 5-lug disc brake in the front, as well as a 5-lug rear end out of a 65, 66 Mustang. Would swap right over with the Leafs. And then obviously we would probably put an aluminum 3-row radiator with electric fan in this thing. And while I've got the radiator out and I know that the motor's good, I've got a cam kit sitting on the shelf. So we could crack open the intake, the valve covers, slide a cam in with a timing chain, and really put some power to this thing. I've also got a set of headers as well as a full 2.5-inch exhaust system. So kind of the sky's the limit with what I have on the shelf. Leave a comment down below of what you would go about doing with this thing. I personally think it deserves to be a ratty body with a big power plant under the hood. So I think that's where I want to go with it. Before I end this video off, I'd like to see how this paint polishes out. So I'll set the camera up and then probably buff at least a fender out and see what you guys think. Really turned out. Single stage paint, obviously, so there's no clear in here. So, you know, with this kind of car, I'm not the best at polishing, but just lay the compound down heavy, buff it in real nice, and then, hey, if you blow through the paint and get into the primer, it just adds a little bit more character to the car. I think when I have a little bit more time and get the mechanicals straightened out, I'll go through and buff the whole thing out, get a really nice polish throughout. I don't know if it's worth shooting a layer of clear coat on it. I've got a buddy that's willing to do that for me that I can reach out to. But what I really am interested in is putting some lettering on the doors or the back sedan delivery panels. Maybe some Pegasus or Mobile Gas, since it's a red car. Add some white or black accents to it. I think it'd really look nice. Let me know down below what you would letter this thing with. And if you want to see more videos about this car or any of the cars in the background here, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. I know I'm just reintroducing the channel after a few years. I've got the compound here now to kind of help the channel out and go from there. So, see you guys in the next one.